Well, that came out of nowhere. That outburst of runs was phenomenal. We're going to talk about it, ending things on a good note in Seattle. Let's go right now.
Yainer Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you joins for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. He's Brett Chancey. We are the Locked On Astros podcast. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Go ahead and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. I know a lot of people thought the Astros would get more wins in the series, but Brett, we're going to talk about, first of all, the big elephant in the room is Isaac Paredes going on IL. The Astros avoided a sweep. And also, we're going to talk a little bit more about Hunter Brown, what's going on with him recently. But Brett, overall, it's good to see more baseball back, but what did you think about this series overall?
Well, it wasn't very fun to watch as a fan, that's for sure. The game Saturday was exciting, back and forth, but obviously didn't end the way the Astros wanted it to.
Right.
And Hector Neris put the heck in Hector. It's like, golly,
yeah.
Come on, man. Just missed opportunities. They had runners on base. Yainer Diaz yesterday had a lot of opportunities. Every time he got up, there was a guy on second base every time, and he didn't do anything. Now today, he made some things happen. He got a sacrifice. He contributed. It looks like everybody contributed for the most part. The first two games, the Mariners, you would have liked to come out of the game with Brandon Walter not pitching a bad game Friday. The offense just didn't show up. And then Saturday, kind of the same thing. And then Isaac goes down, and you're like, well, I don't know how we're going to win game 3. And what do you know? They pummel them in grand fashion, kind of like that Saturday game versus the Dodgers. And I'm not saying the Astros need to score this many runs every time they win, but they need to have multiple innings where they put crooked numbers on the board. And that's what was the success point for today.
Yeah, for those of y'all that don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Isaac Paredes was got a double. It was probably going to be a double, but ended up being a single because as in Saturday's game, as he was running towards first base, he just felt something pull. And so he just started hobbling to first base. I was surprised he even made it to first base. And just by the looks of it, everybody kind of assumed that there was something really, really wrong and that it had something to do with his hamstring because it was non-contact. It was just running. It was at the beginning of the game. And so I think it was like the third inning or something, but it was a situation where it's not supposed to happen unless it's something pretty major. And I know that they did talk about it, and it was a right hamstring pull, and that he was sent back to Houston to be reevaluated. And so they put him on an IL. That was obvious. They're not going to mess around with the guy that's leading in home runs and RBIs and been one of the Astros' most consistent hitters all year. But he's a big person to just replace. You can't replace what he does in terms of as a leadoff hitter, the patience, and just what he does and basically on defense. And so what the Astros have to do now is they have to figure out how to patch together another Band-Aid on their path to championship. And it's going to be a little bit hard. So Brett, who do you see getting the big chunk of playing time?
Oh, well, shoot. I mean, Whitcomb was in there today. You're going to see a lot of lineups with Cooper Hummel, and Trammell is going to continue to be in there, which I don't look. As long as these guys are contributing, I don't care what the name on the back of the jersey is. It doesn't matter to me who's in the game. But what matters to me is that they get opportunities. Now, Shea Whitcomb today, if I look at the box score, 1 for 4, scored 2 runs. He did have 2 strikeouts. Trammell's definitely starting to earn more playing time. Hummel's been pretty key. McCormick got a hit today. Zach Short got drilled in the ribs, but ended up going back in the game today. He was scratched from the starting lineup, but he ended up playing later on in the game today. So a bulk of the playing time, I really see whoever's healthy. I mean, McCormick's probably going to get a chance. Trammell, I think those 2 guys, Dubon. I mean, all these guys are getting as much time as they need right now because we've got Jeremy Pena out. We've got our starting shortstop, starting third baseman. We got our starting left fielder / DH. I mean, we've got so many guys on the IL, Eric, and even backup guys that they've got to go in there. And if they're given consistent at bats, they need to take advantage of it. But not only that, Eric, it's important to point out that it's also the guys that are the key players, the Yainer Diaz, the Jose Altuves. Those guys are going to have to contribute. And I felt like they did that today, but they've got to be consistent. They've got to lead the way. But it was kind of nice to see Cam Smith knock in Cooper Hummel and Shea Whitcomb, Whitcomb almost caught Hummel.
Yeah.
Looked like a little league run scoring. And then, Whitcomb was nimble enough to get around the tag of the catcher. It wasn't Cal Riley behind the plate. It was Mitch Garver behind the plate. So he got around that tag. So that was fun to see.
Yeah. So to go back to the original question, originally it was supposed to be Dubon playing third base today, and then one short got scratched because, like you mentioned, he got drilled in the ribs with the 97-mile-per-hour fastball. He was a little sore, so he didn't start in today's game. So Dubon was Joe Espada's first choice to play third base. Then Whitcomb ended up playing third base today. No errors. He didn't look terrible out there. He played some decent defense. Like you said, he produced in this game. He had a hit. He scored the 2 runs. But overall, I don't know how much playing time Whitcomb's going to get because they've kind of avoided playing him at all possible. But at this point, you have so many missing people. It seems like that you're going to play.
Huh? You can't play favorites right now, Eric. You can't.
Right. And so you also have Joe Espada said that there's so many people that can play third base. You got Dubon that could play it. You can have Whitcomb go out there. You have Short that can go out there. And so there's other people that can play third base. So there's a lot of options. And I know people keep on wanting to know, well, why can't we put Cam Smith back at third base? They're not going to do that. He is a gold glove caliber outfielder at this point of his career. And Joe Espada was asked about it, and he basically said, no, he's an outfielder. Maybe eventually he goes to center field, but for right now, he's a above average right fielder. So
John Singleton's coming back, right?
Yeah. That's why Christian Walker had a home run today, because he wants to save his job. He knows that Big John's coming.
Do you know what number he's wearing?
No, I don't.
He's going to wear number 35, what Justin Verlander wore.
Oh, he's got some big shoes to fill. And everybody that's we'll talk about the C squad in a little bit in a second, but there's a lot of people that are filling in for other guys. But the Astros have 5 players that were supposed to be that were on the opening day roster that are currently on the IL. You have Jeremy Pena, Jake Myers, Isaac Paredes, Jordan Alvarez, and Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers, who, while he's on a rehab assignment, trying to come back to play for Houston Astros, he ran into a shortstop, or I think he ran into a player, and he basically had a fractured nose and concussion. So it's not a good situation for Brendan Rodgers and his comeback. And it just seems like when it rains, it pours for the Houston Astros. And so they have to battle. They still have the 3rd best record in the American League. They still are 4 games above the Seattle Mariners. But we're going to have to talk about the C squad in a second, and we'll talk about this lineup that you just put up there. But guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
All right, everybody, this episode is brought to you by Supply House. Supply House is the place where you get all your plumbing, HVAC, and electrical needs. Use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. With over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. And as the son of a master electrician, I know just how frustrating it is when you cannot find the parts. When you go from supply house to supply house to supply house, only for them to tell you, no, we don't have the part. Plus, if you're a trade pro, you get an extra edge with the free Trade Pro program that offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Whether it's plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, Supply House is the reliable way to go to order all your products online. Go to supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical with just a few clicks. Talk to a real professional in person. That's right. Use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go to subscribe to us, go to make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out. So we don't know the length of how long Isaac Paredes will be on the IL. All we know is that he's being really reevaluated in Houston right now. And so we'll have to wait to see how long he's going to be out. We talked a little bit about who's going to be replacing Paredes in the first segment. But for this segment, we're going to focus on today's win. This was a weekend where you were hoping to get at least 2 out of 3 versus a division rival that's nipping at your tails. And unfortunately, he dropped the first 2 games. Brandon Walter, like you mentioned, pitched a great game. Unfortunately, the bullpen and the offense couldn't get anything going. And yesterday's game, you had Lance McCullers not last very long. And then the bullpen had to cover a whole bunch of innings. And so they're hindered in today's game.
And Saturday, remember you talked about how important it was? The most important thing was Lance McCullers Jr.
Yeah.
He didn't. He failed the assignment. Eric, can I just say it? Is there a real possibility that Lance just doesn't have it anymore? He doesn't know where the ball's going. He can't control the spin. He doesn't know where it's going. I mean, this can't be your third starter. Like, if you're serious about a playoff push, Lance McCullers Jr. is not it. I'm sorry, Joe Espada. I'm sorry, Jim Crane. I'm sorry, H-Town. But Lance McCullers just doesn't have the stuff. And I'm not the only one saying this. And I get he's everybody's guy and he's Barryman in the H guy. And look, this isn't personal. This is baseball. And you don't have the luxury of continue to rolling a guy out there if at some point you get someone to come in to take that third spot. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying there's someone to replace him right now, but eventually you can't keep going to the same well because this well seems pretty dry.
And you got some good news over the weekend. Of course, Christian Javier's already began his rehab, but Spencer Arrighetti pitched 2 innings, I believe, or he got 10 outs, so a little bit more than 2 innings. And then Luis Garcia pitched 2 innings, and so you're seeing some of these guys make their way back, but it's hard to really count on Spencer Arrighetti. I think with his injury, I think that's something he can bounce back from. He could easily become the Astros' third starter.
Right.
Then Lance McCullers becomes the fourth. And then if Brandon Walters continues what he's doing, he could be that guy. But Hunter Brown, I see in the chat, a lot of people are questioning whether he is the ace. I saw David earlier say, well, Hunter Brown is no longer the ace. We have Framber Valdez. He's still the ace. Everybody has these bad little patches, and it just so happened to be right around the All-Star break. He's still a young pitcher. He's still trying to figure out the league, and the league is still trying to figure out him. Maybe they're making an adjustment. Maybe there's something that he's doing wrong. Maybe there's something that he's not figuring out, but he's still striking out hitters. But in today's game, he didn't even go 4 innings, and 4 innings, 6 hits allowed, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. His ERA is still 2.57. But Brett, what did you see in Hunter Brown, not just in today's game, but recently?
Well, recently, I just look back to when he had the full season and his arm was tired,
Mhm.
and for me personally, I haven't been super concerned because the velocity hasn't really seemed to be like down like in an alarming fashion. But at the same time, he's either tipping pitches, or his arm's tired. I mean, his
Right.
arm is fatigued, and I think they kind of pushed it, having him pitch that last game before the All-Star break. I don't even think he should have pitched. I think he should have not pitched that Sunday, and I think he also should have definitely stayed out of the All-Star game like he did, which I'm fine with. But clearly, physically, he doesn't seem to be getting it done. He's struggling too much. Now, first couple innings, looked sharp, got a guy on base, ended the inning with the strikeout with authority. Loved it. Tapping his arm, tapping his glove arm, or looking at Seattle or doing whatever he was doing. Then got into a little bit of trouble. And then you thought, okay, here comes when it rains, it pours runs from the other team. And it wasn't terrible. I mean, there was only 3 runs surrendered today by the entire team, but Hunter Brown definitely, you would like for him to get out of the situations he was in earlier more clean, but he definitely doesn't have the problem Lance has. Lance will get 2 outs and just let 5 runs score. I mean, I'm a little concerned about the fatigue of his arm, to be honest, going forward for the rest of the season. I just hope this isn't a trend in the wrong direction.
All right. So Hunter Brown, I'm not too worried about him. I think it is just him just trying to make that adjustment with this deep into the season. I'm not too worried about it, but let's go and get back to the C squad. I forgot to mention that. I don't want to say, a lot of people are calling the Astros right now the Space Cowboys because they've got a lot of AAA players there. So I just went ahead and yeah, they are, but I didn't want to say the B squad. I know you and I were talking about this off air, but I put the C squad just because there's a lot of people on this roster that you wouldn't expect to have seen on this team. You have Cooper Hummel, Taylor Trammell, you have Zach Short, you have a whole bunch of people that are contributing. John Singleton's even back with the roster, but Trammell, he went out there and some games when he's on, this dude can crack some home runs. He can crack some doubles. He just looked like a absolute beast out there today, and he's playing great defense out there as well.
Well, I mean, look, he was a first-round draft pick by the Reds, and he said today he actually had a chip on his shoulder for his former team. He was with the Mariners, and I haven't heard the minute and 30-second clip that Tags put up on X, but typically when players leave somewhere or they get DFA'd or they get let go, there's probably some things they wish the club would have done differently to keep them around. Trammell is, for his role, he is not a bad player. He's not the guy you want to have to depend on, but you don't have any other options.
Right.
So like I've always said, Eric, anytime we deal with injuries, I've said this for the last 3 seasons, you have got to root for the guys in there. You may not like them. You may think Joe Espada played, C squad player 3 games in a row too many. Well, but if they're contributing, again, I don't care what the name is on the back. I just care that the team on the front, the Astros, get that victory. Trammell looked great, contributed. Yainer Diaz contributed. His at-bats, though, the book is out on him. If I'm a pitcher, I'm throwing sweepers away. That's all I'm going to throw. I might throw 1 strike in the zone to set him up and just go outside because he's eventually gonna chase those. Got to quit chasing. But I love Trammell. I think he is contributing, and the more he contributes, the better it is for the Astros.
Yeah, both Trammell and Christian Walker, they both hit sinkers today for home runs, and it was a big point of the game. When Christian Walker hit his home run, it was tied 3-3. So we're going to continue this conversation about the C squad because I think it is a pretty big what the Astros are doing with all the injuries. It's pretty important. So guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
All right, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. This episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Summer sports are in full swing. And whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are out there getting sunburned at the beach. Why? Because you took their sunscreen. But seriously, FanDuel helps you track your favorite matchups. The app keeps it fresh and new daily promotions, and it's a fun way to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events, even if the Astros get pummeled or if they pummel their opponent. Whether I am placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right in the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it fun so that I feel like I'm part of the action. You need to as well. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right. Check it out today. Open the app today, FanDuel, or visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. So the Astros have lost 2 of their last 9 games, and they've been playing pretty bad baseball recently. And when the Astros got to that 3-0 deficit in this game, I'm sure a lot of people went to FanDuel or other sites and probably like, oh, the Astros are going to lose this game. But 11 unanswered runs to win the game, 11-3. That's pretty impressive, especially when you have your C squad out there. And I don't mean this as any disrespect to any of the players that are out there. They all got to the big leagues for a reason at some point. And so these guys, some of these guys are just on the roster because of the injuries, and they're taking advantage of it. But Christian Walker, today, I'm not going to say that he's scared about John Singleton taking his job, but he saw that sinker. He drove the ball. He scored 2 runs in this game. I'm not going to say he's back, but as much as we would love for him to be back, but it's a step in the right direction. He occasionally has a good game.
Yeah, sorry that I wasn't trying to cut you off. Yeah, he needs like 3.5 weeks for me to say he's back, because we thought he was back versus some really good teams. I mean, even in LA, I mean, some people have joked about maybe his bat was left in Chavez Ravine, you know. Maybe his bat is too busy. You know, I don't know. It's been a very frustrating watch this year, because you know that he's been making adjustments. He's even said, I've had to be humbled in the process. And so at the end of the day, you're just like, wow, like, what is it going to take to turn this guy around and maybe returning to Arizona? Because let me tell you, I do not want to see Eugenio Suarez hitting home runs against the Astros. He's got 4 home runs in the last 2 games. And the dude's got 35 home runs. Now, He's a guy that I would love the Astros to go after. Isak's on the IL. Let's go get Suarez. Why the heck not? Why not bring over another guy that's supposed to hit? Maybe Christian Walker will hit more bombs that way. But this is wild to me, because you're talking about the C squad. This is our IL lineup. Jeremy Pena, shortstop. Paredes, third. Alvarez, left field. Myers, center field. Melton, DH. DeCenzo, first base. Rogers, second base. Pedro Leon, right field. Guillorme at catcher. Well, Brian McTaggart put him there. This was Brian McTaggart said I had to put him somewhere. Yeah. So these guys, this is everybody that's on. So right now, of the lineup we have now versus the lineup we have here, who would win a game? I mean, obviously the guys that are in the game right now, because you got Altuve, you've got Diaz, who needs to perform better. You do have Caratini. You've got pros, and C squad isn't necessarily a slight on the entire team. It's just, you've got guys, you're having to depend on the backup to the backup in some places. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so the Astros have had to go deep into their system, but it's guys, thankfully, that do have major league experience. I mean, Zach Short has contributed. As much as people make fun of Cooper Hummel, why is he on this team? Well, he's contributing. I mean, again, well, but I mean, I don't care. I would rather him contribute sometimes than no times, right? And
Well,
it's
he's got a 169 batting average with a 578 OPS, but I hear what you're saying.
right. So what I know, and that needs to be more consistent. That has to be. So what's the answer to all this? And let me tell you, and thank you for asking. The answer to all this, yes. Sorry, that was a voice of man. The answer to all these problems the Astros are having is Jose Altuve, Yainer Diaz, Christian Walker. Those three guys have got to step up and be consistent offensive forces. And I know Altuve still has one of the highest averages in July, but he also had 3 strikeouts on Saturday. He looked terrible on Saturday. And this, I mean, Cam Smith, I need Cam Smith to lead the way as a rookie of the year contender, right? But these other veterans that I mentioned, it's imperative that they get hot and they lead the way for the Young Bucks. Because, the Young Bucks are going to contribute, but you can't depend on them.
Well, Cam Smith had a big 2-run double
Right.
today. It seems like he gets those clutch hits, and I know everybody wants him to go for that rookie of the year because of the draft pick that's attached to it. But I love the respect that Joe Espada has for Cam Smith. Yes, they went ahead and moved Jose Altuve to bat second, and he had a pretty good day. He scored 2 runs, but Cam Smith, I don't know how long that's going to last, but for at least one day, he's your leadoff hitter. And so that's a big sign of respect from not a veteran manager, but a manager for a rookie to have him, because Cam Smith was somebody that was playing college last year. This is somebody that wasn't supposed to be playing on the team. He was supposed to maybe coming up at some point pretty soon, but he made the opening day roster because he showed the Astros he can do it. And so now he did that, maybe not to the success of what's the guy in with the Athletics? Can't think of his name right now.
Jacob Wilson. Yeah,
Jacob Wilson. But I think that he is
look,
doing
here's
as
the deal.
good as he can.
Here's the deal, Eric. Excellent point. His highest 2 batting averages, if you look at what he does production-wise, average-wise, is when he bats 4th and when he bats 9th. Okay. I was surprised that they were putting him in at second, because at second, he's like batting like 118. They put him at first today, like you mentioned, leading off. Maybe that's his jam, but he does really well in the 4 spot. And he needs to, like Ben's saying here in the chat, when he hits the other way, when he tries to go opposite field, that is a ball that if you can get in between the right fielder and the center fielder, that is a ball that almost always guarantees if there's 2 guys on, they're going to score almost every time. You're going to almost every time get to second. That's what they need. They need strategic, timely hitting in key moments. And Eric, today's game was encouraging because they did it against a pretty solid pitcher and a pitching staff that's handled them. And they scored multiple runs in 4 straight innings. It wasn't like some 10-run outburst. It was 3-2, 4-2, boom, crooked numbers. Crooked numbers win baseball games.
Yeah, and what the Astros did against Brandon Wu, who is one of the best pitchers in baseball. Well, maybe not one, but he's up there. But 6 innings, they scored 5 runs. Only 4 of them were earned. His ERA is still 2.91, but he was the TBA. I guess when the Astros announced Hunter Brown, the Mariners kind of countered with their best guy too. So
it's Brian Wu, by the way. Brian Wu, not Brandon.
What I think? Oh, okay, Brian. Okay.
Yeah,
I guess I'm thinking Brandon Walter, but definitely it was one of the big things that I talked about before the series to have success is limiting Cal Riley, and the Astros did that. Unfortunately, it didn't really do much. He was 2 for I think it was
13,
2 for 13 with no extra base hits. And
Yep.
so they did that part, but unfortunately they only got 1 victory, and that was the victory in the last game. They scored a whole bunch of runs on 13 hits, 11 runs on 13 hits, but unfortunately, that stupid extra inning game on Saturday, you could have had that victory. And then,
that was.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, Eric. It was an exciting game, but there were so many missed opportunities in that game. But yeah, you love because they were like chanting MVP, MVP. It's all good, but whatever, man. It's just one of those things where, look, man, whenever you have an opponent like that, like Suarez, when you go to Arizona, you need to shut that dude down. Like that guy does not need to. That guy does not need to be hitting baseballs out of the ballpark. And maybe Christian Walker will feel home, be somewhat of a homecoming for him. And I can't wait to see him just wreck the place there in Arizona.
And to close out the show, I do want to have I have a quote from Christian Walker. He said, "It'll be good to see the guys in Arizona. That being said, it's another series that we need to come out strong and take a series and head back home. It'll be nice to see everybody, but that page will turn quickly." So that means he's going to put his game face on. And one other thing I want to say, Brett, is that the Astros have allowed opposing teams to score first in 11 consecutive games, which ties a club record that was set in 1962. That was the first year that the Houston Colts were around, and matched it in 1984. They haven't scored first since July 1st versus the Dodgers. So it's been a long time since the Astros have scored first, and so they need to go ahead and try to turn the page against the Diamondbacks and score first, and let's see how things go from there.
That's right. Go Astros. Let's keep this wagon train moving. Let's get another win streak going before we return home. So, Eric, you got to wash it. It was not a sweep, so we can say sweepless in Seattle as the guys head to Arizona to take on Christian's old team.
All right, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out.
Go Stros.
Too many people are doing sweep lists. That's why I didn't do it.
No, it's okay. I did.